Well, hi there. It is not quite 8 o'clock, not quite a quarter to 8 p.m. And time to show up. I'm showing up. I'm glad you showed up. I appreciate every single one of you. Do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And let's shit in the box. I have spent the last day and a half, watching a bunch of shitty Isekai anime. I like shitty Isekai anime. There's something about it. There's this comfort to it. There's the whole thing of random Japanese teenager gets sent to a fantasy world where he is inexplicably the coolest guy ever and gets to be in charge of 8 million things and keeps getting handed stuff for no good reason. It's like a wish fulfillment fantasy, and it's very, very childish. But it's also just kind of, it's cool because you see this guy who has like nothing, and he goes to this fantasy world, and suddenly his boring life is a cool life. And his boring world is a cool world. And as he goes through this brand new, more interesting world with magic and monsters and hot chicks that are interested in him for God only knows what reason, all of this cool stuff keeps happening. He keeps getting stuff that he didn't earn, and like turning out, he has these fantastic abilities that hardly anybody has. Right, man, cool. And it's kind of fun watching that because you get to see somebody just kind of go between these two polar opposites, and they just sit there and go, man, my life sucks. My world is boring. Oh, wow, this world is really cool. And I have like all kinds of shit. I was watching The Eighth Son, Are You Kidding Me? And the Are You Kidding Me, I guess, refers to the sheer quantity of money and power and authority they throw at this guy for no good reason. It's terribly cheesy and terribly childish, but it's fun. And one of the things they never really did in The Eighth Son was they never had the guy's experience as a substantially older person kick in and help him as a child in this new world. I like when they do that. I like when they take somebody who's like a baby and they're like, well, you still have the brain of a 30-year-old. I like that. I like when they have older people that they're bringing to this new world. I like all kinds of variations on the Isekai tropes, on the Isekai genre, and it amuses me and interests me because it's such a basic concept. It's just person in one world gets moved to another world, and shit happens. Well, that's a very simple, basic concept. There's not a whole lot to it, and it gives you a built-in reason to explain things that everybody else in the world already knows, because your protagonist has to figure everything out, and he has to go, oh, I understand. I'm a fucking idiot and don't know how anything works. This is how that thing works because I just figured it out from staring at it for way too long because I don't know anything. I don't know. I kind of identify with that. I spend a lot of time looking at stuff for way too long and not knowing what the fuck I'm doing and not knowing what the fuck I'm looking at, but trying to figure it out. And I like that. I like seeing people figure it out. I don't see a lot of that in the modern world. I see a lot of people going, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to make shit up. That's not how it works. That's not how anything works. You're not supposed to do that. Well, who's going to stop me? And nobody stops them. Watching all of these shitty isekai is just like, it's just it's a thing that I do when I have a thing that I'm supposed to be working on that I don't want to work on, and I'm not even trying to work on it. So, yeah, this is still me procrastinating on working on my game. But I'm watching all this shitty isekai. I watched that entire series yesterday, the Eighth Sun thing. And I've also watched How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. I've seen that one before, like several times. I really like that one. I started to watch Noain, and it's weird, and I don't know if I like it. Although it has some echoes, it's not an isekai, but it has some echoes of Bakura no, which was a fairly dark and disturbing anime, and I kind of like that. It also seems to have some elements of Serial Experiments Lane, which again, great anime. I like that. One of my absolute favorite things to explore in anime, or in any story really, or in art, just one of my favorite themes to explore in general is innocence lost or stolen. When you have someone young who doesn't know what the fuck is going on, and then they're forced to figure out what is going on because bad things are happening to them. I like that. I find that a useful story trope. That's kind of what happens in isekai. When the guy's like looking at stuff and trying to figure shit out, and he's going, oh, I just figured this out. Now, he's an innocent. He doesn't know how shit works in this world. But he has to figure it out because he has to live in this world. And that's another form of innocence lost or stolen, I guess. And I like Noain because it centers around young school children, which I think is an underutilized source of cast. Because I'm not 100% sure. I think these are primary school kids that are on their way to middle school. They might be middle school kids. I'm not sure. But they're like right on the edge of going to middle school, I think. Or they've just started middle school. One or the other. It's something like that. They might be like, there might be some of them that aren't in middle school yet and some of them that are, but I like that age. I think that's a good age to like focus around. Somewhere between like 13 and 15. I think those are good ages to focus on for character development and for interesting discoveries and interesting understandings, and of course, innocence lost or stolen. It's a good age to learn that that your father is an inveterate gambler and has gambled away all of your money and is borrowing from loan sharks to pay his bills, and that for some reason in your culture it's your job to take care of his debts if he's a loser and can't. That's a good age to learn that, because that's a fucked up thing to deal with, but you're old enough to figure out how to deal with it. You shouldn't find that out when you're like 9, but between 13 and 15, that's a good time. That's a good time when you're almost old enough to start thinking about, maybe I could get a fucking job. I only have to lie a little bit to be able to get a job. I remember watching something where somebody got a job that they weren't supposed to get because they were too young to be working. Hinamatsuri, they did that. That was a fun anime. I really enjoyed that one. But I feel like that early teenage period, that 13 to 15 period, is a very good time to be examining that threshold of passing into, if not actual adulthood, then at least the awareness of adult things, the understanding that somebody has got to make sure the bills get paid, and somebody's got to make sure the grocery shopping gets done, and that sort of thing. I find that a very compelling sort of storyline. I like to watch people thrown into bad situations and they have to figure out how to be responsible and how to be accountable and how to take care of the shit that needs to get taken care of. I like that. I'm still not sure whether I want to keep watching Noain. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. The way that Japanese work, the no is pretty easy, but the ein, it's that should be 3 mori, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Noain. That's close. Noain. But I'm putting too much of a glide off it. It should be Noain. Not Noain, but Noain. Not in, but Ian. My Japanese is not very good. I know just enough Japanese to understand how fucking bad my Japanese is. Procrastinating on the stuff I'm supposed to do is like my thing. That's basically what I do, is procrastinate on the stuff I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be working on my menus for my game, and in particular the main menu. But I'm kind of stuck thinking about a thing where I want to have an automation system where the game will play itself. Because that'll make for a good attract mode. I can have that in the background of the main menu. As you're sitting at the main menu, you would be able to see behind that main menu a game playing itself and taking care of things. I also want to do a game recording feature. You really need to have like a demo feature for your games so that when you play the game, there's a certain attract loop that goes on with it. And it's not that difficult. You just have to timestamp when various inputs come in. I wonder if there's an easy way to simulate that in Gato. I wonder if there's a way to mock controller inputs to the system. Obviously, there should be a fairly easy way to record them. All you have to do is recognize, well, at this frame we got this input, or at this delta time we got this input. Okay, well, at this delta time we got this. There it is, and I think that'd be fairly easy to implement. I just need to test it. I just need to write the code, which isn't even going to be a lot of code. It's going to end up being like 30 to 50 lines, I think. Just baselining off of. One of the things that's bugging me is the more that I'm looking at the code that I've already got for the game, the more I'm thinking, I really don't have a good excuse to put this in C#. Maybe the whole game needs to be in GD script. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit, but it's another case of innocence lost or stolen. Maybe I can do this and not use GD script. It's the right choice. Maybe I can, like, only do some of it in GD script. No, you probably ought to do all of it in GD script. I don't want to do GD script. It has the white space thing. I don't like it. I don't like the indentation for flow control. Grow the fuck up. It's really what it comes down to. Grow the fuck up. 56 years old, I haven't learned that lesson yet. That's a particular layer of innocence that needs to be lost or stolen in my case. Well, anyway, I don't have much of anything else to say. So, again, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And, okay, bye.